How are you doing today? I hope that you had a fantastic weekend and are ready for a great another week. It's Market Watch Monday. I'm excited to talk pre-release prices. I'm actually not excited to talk pre-release prices. This is one of my least favorite kind of market watches I do. However, I always want to put these out here for you newcomers, people who may be new to collecting cards, or whether that be One Piece cards or card games in general. I like to put these out because it is a great source of information for you if you are new to a game that does pre-release. Well, I feel like most games do pre-releases, but if you're new to cards, you're new to collecting, and you're new to buying cards before they come out officially, this is going to be a great video for you. I'm going to talk over a lot of the cards I think you need to watch out for in this set, as well as a lot of the higher value cards, and give you kind of my opinions on where they're at right now and where I see them going after Friday. This set officially releases this Friday. So after Friday, things will definitely calm down. And next week's Market Watch, we will do another Market Watch on this set, but we will cover maybe a little bit more stuff, and we'll have a little bit more data to look at with sales, and everybody is able to list. So there's a million listings for cards and stuff. So we will get into that. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Make sure to smash that like button if you find any of this information useful. Hit that subscribe button if you like this kind of content, if you enjoy market watches and anything else One Piece card game related. Hit that subscribe button. It helps me out, helps you out, so that you know when I post more content. And if you end up purchasing anything from TCG Player, use my affiliate link in the description below. It helps support me and the channel. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this. So we have Adventure on Kami's Island, and I'm going to be straight up with you guys and I give you my honest opinion on this stuff. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I don't like to bullshit or beat around the bush for you. I hate this. I hate this set and OP14 because they shoved an extra half set inside of this. So that means that the pull rates and the ratios of cards are off tremendously. They did try to shove cards into these packs in a way that it is more likely for you to get all the cards you need from both the OP15 side and the EBO4 side. However, I opened a booster box, and out of that booster box, I did not get a single Roanoa Zoro uncommon blocker, the black 2-cost for the Brook deck. Zero. I got zero of those out of a single box. That's just kind of unheard of. You know, a whole playset is also kind of unheard of, but like to not get one single uncommon out of a set is just it's tough, right? I'm trying to build a deck and I wasn't able to get a card I need for out of this box, like a single card. I also didn't pull any choppers or dockings. That's 3 cards I need, 4 copies of both of them. They're all 3 of them. I need 4 copies of. Didn't pull a single one out of my box. Luckily, I have friends and people in the community and resources in my community. They open boxes for us, and I was able to get my cards and stuff. And I hope that you're able to do the same. But it's just one of the reasons I hate this set. And then you also think about how many extra SRs are crammed into this set, and it really just creates this disconnect with opening packs and trying to get the cards you want. It's a lot harder, and I think that is a good and a bad thing at the same time. I want to say it's really bad because that means that it's a lot harder to pull the higher end cards or a specific alt art or even a specific super rare. You know, like I mentioned, an uncommon I was looking for, I didn't even get one. God forbid I pull the super rare I need. Borsalino, good luck pulling your Borsalinos if you're not opening like 8 boxes, and even then you might only get like 2. You know, I had a buddy that opened a handful of boxes and he didn't even get any. So it's really tough, and especially when you're talking about a set, and most sets have this, but a set that has a lot of really good cards in it. Not only the introduction of new leaders and new cards that are really meta warping, but you're talking about a card that I want to say single-handedly boosts the power of an entire color up a tier just by existing is in this set, and we'll get to that guy here in a minute. But it's tough, and I hate these sets. I hate this set and a half, and hopefully, and I think that we won't ever have to deal with this again. But I'm also going to tell you how I think this is going to shape out. I think the pattern and trend is going to be very similar to OP14, but I think over time, certain cards are going to hold more value just because they're a little more playable. But I also think over time, this set after release will be a little bit cheaper than OP14 was, simply because OP14 came out at the peak of One Piece hype this year. You know, if you look at any graph of sales reports for cards over the past 6 months, or like if you have a collector app and you look at the price of your collection, it all goes up in January, right at the end of January and into February, and then comes back down. And it's not like drastic; it's a correction, whatever you want to call it. We're not really here to talk about that too much, but that was a peak, and prices of cards were at an all-time high for this game at that point in time. And now we are on a good correction and a good path moving forward. Things are still expensive. You know, I still have to consider if I want to try to collect certain cards or not, or if I need to wait, or however I want to do that. But let's go ahead and jump into this. Like I said, I predict the trend being very similar to OP14 at first, but after release, I do think we're going to see more of a dip on this set. And so we only have 4 listings for cases here, and they're all 2,800 before you hit a one for 3,200. Now, that is, I want to say 200 and maybe 230, 240 a box, something like that. Because 200 a box, 12 boxes in the case would be 2,400. Maybe 220 a box. I don't know the straight math off the top of my head, but that's not horrible. However, it is like 100 over MSRP per box, and you know, sealed case should have a little bit of a case tax on it where it's sealed and you're guaranteed certain ratios and things like that, and you have a higher chance of hitting things. So where MSRP is usually 120, 130 a box, you know, 150, 160 a box for a sealed case. I don't think it's too bad, but here we're talking way over that, and that's to be expected. It's pre-release price. You know, I'm not gonna dive too deep into that. I don't really want to touch too much on double packs. I hate this product. I hate the sealed market behind this product. I think it's a scam. I think it's stupid. I think this is just, it's not worth it. If you want any of these cards that come in this set, buy a booster box or buy singles. Don't buy this thing. If you want the Dawn that comes out of it, you can get it for super cheap. Just give it like a week or two after release, and then all the Dawns will be like $5 max. That's what I did for the Croc Dawn. Like, they were $5, and I got all of them. Now, I was an idiot, honestly. I was a little early. They're like $2 or $3 now. So just wait if you want the Dawn in here. I actually don't even know what it looks like. I forgot if I even seen it or not. But these are $340 for the first 3, and then $500 for the next one. And it's 8 double packs. You're talking 16 packs at $340. Like, what are we doing here? It makes absolutely no sense. Next we have an actual booster box, and again, we only have 23 listings here. That's not too many, but the lowest is 240. That's really steep, man. You know, locals that get a good amount of allocation of this and are trying to support their player base should be charging anywhere from 120 to 150, and for a store to be charging $240 for a box is just, I mean, I don't want to say outlandish or absurd. We've seen higher, we've seen around the same, but don't pay this price if you can avoid it. You know, if you can wait a little bit, I do believe this will dip and come down in price. You know, if we look at OP14, I want to say it's still close to this price. Where are we at with this? Where is it hiding? We're at 212 on OP14. And again, I think that these were bought up like crazy because of that hype right around that time. I mean, people were buying them from my locals, people that don't even play One Piece, don't even know what One Piece is. They're Monkey D. Luffies, Luffy D. Monkeys. And 212 for this booster box is still, I want to say, a little high. You know, there are great playable cards in here. It's not like it's really old, but it's also not, I mean, it was, what, 3 months ago? 3 months ago this came out. So, you know, 212, if you look at the graph at the highest point, it was like 270 before it came out. So this was even higher. So this is 212. I do predict that OP15 booster box will be probably 200, maybe around the same price, 210, 212. And I want to say that a lot of that also has to do with it having another half set included in it. And we have a lot of really good cards in it. So off the bat, we have a really nice SP in this Zeus, and it's really expensive. You know, it's got Nami on it. People call it the Pikachu Zeus. It does look like Pikachu right here. Like, if you were to take everything else away from the card, this could look a lot like Pikachu. You could redraw this and put a tail on it, and it would look a lot like Pikachu. I think it's really funny. But you not only have Zeus and Nami, you have Sanji, you have Luffy, and you have Jinbei on here. It's just a really good looking card. It's $800 pre-sale, and quickly goes up after that. Now, my advice to you is this technically a Nami card? Yes, technically. However, I don't think this will hold as much value as a typical Nami card over time, because it does not say Nami on it. That's the one thing I think this card has lacking. When you look at the other high SP out of OP14, the Bubble Zoro, that is actually a Roanoa Zoro, and I believe it's the only Roanoa Zoro treasure or SP that we have. The other ones are Zorojuros. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but if this was a Nami card, like, I think it would be much higher than this. It technically is a Nami card. You have Nami on it. You know what I'm saying. $800. I don't want to say yes or no at this price point. You know, if you have the money, I always go off the premise of, if you have the money and you really want a card and that card is worth that much in value to you, pay it. Get the card. I just try to give my opinion on how I would buy things, and you know, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. I don't know how much money you make. I don't know how you spend your money, but I personally would not pay $800 for this SP. If I was going to spend, if I was going to spend that much money right now on a new SP that came out, it would be probably the Luffy. You can always bank on a Luffy card, and where this is a Zeus card and not a Nami card, it just has Nami on it, and it's really pretty. I wouldn't place all my chips in this basket. That's just me. I do think that this could come down a little bit, but I also could see these getting bought and it going up. That's what happened with Zoro. I said, oh, this card's $700. Wait a week, it'll be $500. And then it shot up to $1,200. So I'm never always right, and I'm never always wrong. And I don't want you to miss out if you're really wanting this card. You know, we've had people buy this at $850 and $825, and you can see people are already listing it for lower than that. I would say give it a little bit of time. Watch right around release day what happens. Look on eBay for cards like this, because you never know. This could come with a small white mark. If you're wanting this for a personal collection, I think TCG Player is fine, but my advice is, if you're ever trying to grade, don't buy from TCG Player. Buy it from eBay or in person. Next, we got the Zoro Treasure Rare, and this is $175, and my take on this is going to be a great collector's piece, but please remember that these are, I want to say one a case, maybe two a case. I'm pretty sure it's one a case, though. If you know exactly, let me know down in the comments below. But I don't think we have another treasure rare in this set. I think the treasure rare for EBO4 was stuffed inside of the first half of OP4, the first half with OP14. So with that being said, you can only pull this one. Actually, was that OP14 treasure? I can't remember. It's the Law in Rosinante, or it's a Rosinante Searcher. I can't remember if that's OP14's or if it was meant for EBO. I don't fucking know at this point anymore, man. There's so many cards, and cut me some slack, please. But this one, I think, is a banger. I think this is one of the better treasure rares that we've had in this game in a long time, and it will hold some high value over time. We have a lot of these already sold at $200 and even higher than that at $260. I would say wait until release day. If this is dropping on release day, I wouldn't, like, I really think, especially if these are one per case, like $100, I think that's nothing for a good Zoro card that's not only playable, looks really cool, like, and it's Zoro, like, I mean, it's super collectible. This is going to be graded a whole bunch. These are going to be very good collector piece long term, I think. I think a lot of treasure rares are really undervalued. You know, actually, we can look at treasure rare. And actually, I think you have to type it in like this, TR. And that still didn't really help me that much, but we can get there, maybe. We might not get there. I think it's like this. Hold on. Live editing, folks. I hope you enjoy this. That really didn't help either. I apologize, but we should start to find them. These are $75. Yeah, so we have the Luffy one. Like, this one shot up and went back down. It's only like $40 now. Like, you can get that. I think this Ace one it was super undervalued for the long time. It was like $15. And I scooped up like 3 or 4 of them, and it shot up really high. I still have all of them. One of them is at grading, and 2 of them are over here. I have 3 of them, I think. 2 of them are still in my box over here. And then you have this Law one actually held value good. I think it's because of the artist that drew it, and people do like Law. That Sanji one, the Lucky Roo, is pretty cheap at $20. So I don't know. I think maybe 100 could be steep, but it's again, it's Zoro. I think that one is going to hold some value over time. But we have a Luffy one that's not holding great value. I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe 75 bucks. I don't really know. We'll have to see when it comes out, but I do think that that is a great treasure rare. You guys should know by now that I am a sucker for the alt art manga events, manga style events, whatever you want to call them. And this is a good one. However, I don't think this card's played in every deck that it could be played in. Like, I think this card's good. I think it'll see some more play in the future. But for now, I think Sky Luffy plays this, and then you could play this in what? Nami, Robin, and Black Yellow Luffy too. But I don't really think that they're playing this. I think that this is super collectible because it is a Luffy card, Luffy attack. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. We have another yellow event, alt art manga event from another set that is just like this one that saw some fringe play when it first came out. It's the Red Hawk where he's punching Dofi. And that card's super cheap now. I'm actually going to pull it up because I want to say that it's probably, like 50 bucks. Yeah, I think that's super undervalued, especially out of a set like OP11. And you can visibly see Luffy very easily on this one, whereas this one, he's pretty tiny. I think that this one will probably fall in the same price range, 50, 60 bucks. Now, that's just my theory. This one is not as played as the Ground Death or the You'll Frighten Me from the last set. You'll Frighten Me isn't even really that played, but it is BOA. So kind of just has that tax on it. But if you want one of these right now, you're paying at least 150 for it. So I again would probably just hold off. I could see this falling to like 60 bucks. This Luffy, I think this is a great collector's piece. It's Luffy fighting Borsalino, and he's in Gear 5. I think this one will hold great value over time for sure. If you're looking to just play these cards in like a red, yellow Bonnie deck, I would definitely wait on this one and just go after the regular secret rare. We'll talk about that one here in a minute. This is going to be another great collector's piece in the long term because you have Straw Hat Crew on it. You've got Luffy, Usopp, Nami, Zoro, Sanji, Robin, and Chopper all on this in their Sky Island fits. Golden Ball, it's just a sick leader card, man. It really is. I think this leader actually is pretty good. I think it's I don't want to say has potential. I want to say that it's underplayed. I think other people are just picking other leaders to play right now. I think that it's just like you can't really starve them. You can't just beat into their board if they don't want you to, and then they can heal a whole bunch. It's kind of annoying, and it's really strong. I think just give it a little bit of time, and this will start to see some more play over time. But 150 again. Just wait on this. I'm going to say that about pretty much every single card in this video. Just wait. I do see this one being one of the more expensive leaders because it is Luffy, but there are a handful that will fall under it. I think Enel will probably hold the highest price tag, and then this and Lucy will be competing, and then the other three will be, it'll be Rebecca, Brooke, and Krieg. I want to say probably Brooke, Rebecca, Krieg in that order. And then also the Bonnie leader. I want to say that one's a little tough. I want to put that one probably at the same height as this and the Lucy. They'll probably all be around the same price in my mind. We'll just have to see when it comes out Friday. But I again, just wait. Wedding Nami, again, another great collector piece. This is, Nami in a wedding dress. Come on. Collectors rejoice for your Nami cards. But 140, do not pay this price. We've had people buy this at 140 and 170. Just wait. Again, please just wait. This card is really good for Brooke and other black decks that play Straw Hat stuff. So your Black Yellow Luffy can play this, and your Peanut Butter Luffy, the PB Luffy can play this. We have the SD14 Luffy can play this, and I'm sure we'll get more decks that can play this as well in the future. It's a really pretty looking card. It's a really I think strong card. Just doesn't have the greatest home yet, but after release, I do think this will come down. However, I think it will hold that price tag because it is Nami. It will hold a little higher than others. Again, Lucy, I see this being anywhere between second and fourth most expensive leader out of this set, just because a lot of people really like this leader. A lot of people also really like Sabo as a character, and I think that this leader has potential. Well, not potential, it's proven. It's a really strong leader, and I think especially if they were to do something to yellow, this leader just goes really, really high. I think it's going to be really, really good. So if you want one now, though, 140, 150, just wait. It's not worth that yet. Um, all of the OP14 leaders were the same way, and now they're super cheap. I actually need to start looking into picking up the ones that I'm missing. Other than Boa, she's still close to $100. I think she's actually still like $110, but the rest of them are all like $50, $40 and lower. So it's the time to buy. Bonnie leader 130. Again, just wait. I could see this being like a 60, $70 leader. Definitely a collector piece. I think this leader actually is high potential, but isn't being exploited right now. I think it just dances too close to that line of death all the time. So the man of the hour, the man of the format, whatever you want to call him, Borsalino, the card that everybody either loves or hates right now. Alt art is at 120 right now. Hard to say if this will go higher, but I know it'll come lower. But you know, we have really powerful cards like this in the past be really expensive, and I want to say that the super rare for this card is probably going to stick right around where Nami is at, the yellow Nami. I want to say around $40 for the super. So with that being said, and this not being Nami, I could see the alt art being maybe double that price, around $75, $80. I wouldn't pay 120. I would probably just wait if you're wanting to pick these up. It is a very good looking card. I did see one in person, but again, I do think around $75, $80 for the alt is where I could see these landing. It's just really hard to pull, right? Really, really hard to pull. Brooke, this leader looks awesome. I was able to snag one this weekend, but 120 for this, ridiculous in my opinion. You know, this is I want to say this is going to be a collector piece just because it has the Straw Hat Crew partying on it. Like, it's just a fun looking card and artwork. It looks really nice. I think Brooke actually has a lot of potential as a leader in the future. Right now, it's just kind of middle of the road. I have a great time playing it, and it's definitely very entertaining to play with and play against. However, I see this settling around 40, maybe $50 max. Just because of playability. And now this is the big dog. This is the one. It's already down at 112. Like, I see this max being like $90 maybe. I maybe I'm wrong about that, but like we're talking about the last set, Boa, Mihawk, Dofi, like all of those were like 150 plus liters before release, and then release hits, and a lot of them still held at like $80 to $100. A Boa was the fucking $250 liter for weeks. And we're talking about the strongest leader out of the set being 112. Arguably the strongest leader out of the set. Like, the Luffy one's more expensive. Luffy's literally more expensive than that right now. So I think it'll just depend on playability and well, I guess what people target and want to collect. And I know that people do collect alt art leaders, but a lot of people like to collect Straw Hats and Namis and Luffy's and Zoros, and that's probably what they're going to go after first. So where I predict this being the most expensive just because of playability, honestly, that Luffy might just take the cake because it's Luffy and the Straw Hat Crew. But 112 for this, I don't think is a horrible price. I do see this settling around $75, $90, something like that. These are just predictions. You know, I'm not saying that's exactly where it's going to go, but I am saying hold off on these cards. Just wait, man. If you really, really want them, give it at least until Friday. After Friday, give it until like, yeah, Friday, release date of 4/3. That's Friday. So give it until at least Friday to see what the prices are starting to be. And then if you really have some patience, wait a week or two to get the really shiny cards that you want, like the alt art versions or the collector pieces that you're missing for your binder. Wait like 2 weeks, and you'll really be thanking yourself when the cards are down a little bit more. We skipped over this NL, but this NL and this Luffy go hand in hand. They kind of make a scene. I think it's really sick and would be a great binder piece. It's drawn by the same artist. Both of them are, and I think it just looks really, really cool. Really nice if you put them next to each other. So really strong card here in this secret NL. $100 though, I don't think so. I think it'll definitely come down. And same with this Luffy. This is $85, and this is already coming down. Oh, maybe not. Somebody bought one for $75, but I definitely think this will come down as well. Again, it's a secret rare Luffy card though, so will hold some value. However, I do think that the one that will be collected more is going to be this Gear 5 Luffy I talked about earlier. So be on the lookout for that one. This I do think will come down a lot though. Roano Zoro, this is the EB04 red 7 cost. That's like the Newgate. I don't want to say replacement, but basically a Newgate replacement. They're going to be running this in Ace. I think I've seen some in Lucy, and a lot of red decks can play this. I know that Bonnie plays 4 of this, and you're gonna want this if you like red decks, and I definitely think this is a card that you want. Maybe not the alt art version, just the regular super, but I think this is also going to be a pricier one. I think it's going to be really, really strong. But again, man, if we look at what was the most expensive super out of OP14, Boa, which I actually just got mine. Look, yeah, I just got mine in the mail. I just ordered them the other day for Teach. Those were $25, $30 at time of release, and for a couple weeks after that as well. Now they're a lot cheaper than that. Like, let me just pull it up because I want to see. Live editing again, folks. $8. $8, and it took a little bit. I mean, look, January, we're talking $25 consistently. 700 sold, 700 sold, 550 sold, 550 sold, and finally dipped all the way down to $8, and now it's steady holding at $8. So, you know, I think the Borsalino is the most expensive for sure, and then I think this one's probably going to be right behind it. This is another really good card out of the set. Alt art for $80. If you're a Zoro collector, Zoro fan, and you want to collect the alt arts and stuff, I would still wait on this one a little bit. I could see it coming down for sure. And if you're just wanting the supers, just wait as well. Borsalino selling for $55 all day long. People have been buying this for even more than that. This is one of the most bought pre-sale cards I've seen in a very long time. Just because people are anticipating the price tag being this. You know, we have some sold for $47. I don't think that's horrible. I really do think this will land at like a $40 super rare. I predict it being just like Nami. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be a little bit cheaper. But I anticipate $30 to $40. And maybe with time, it'll come down. You know, the EBO3 set, that Nami, it is out of a special set that was like very low print run, very hard to get your hands on, very sought after and collector heavy and scalper heavy. So this is a core set. This is a main booster box. It is a lot easier to get your hands on, but with that extra half set subbed in here, it just makes it harder to pull. So again, I'm anticipating $30 to $40 with a drop over time, but I guess we'll just have to find out. And now at $50 for the alt art super, I think that's still a little high, but you know, people are going to be maxing this deck out for sure. And a lot of people are really pilled on this deck and really excited for it. But $50 I think is a little steep for the super alt. Just give it a little bit of time and it'll come down for sure. Rono Zoro. This one is another great collector piece. I think this artwork is awesome and a very playable card. And honestly, if you're a yellow fan and you like yellow decks, pick up your playset of the regular super of this, at least, if not the alt. $40 for this, I don't think is awful, but I definitely see it being like $20, $25 max for the alt. I think it's a great card. It's a definite 4 of in a lot of different decks, and I think over time this card will see a lot more play. Double pack for $50. Are you fucking kidding me? 2 packs for $50 and a Dawn. Fuck off, dude. Like, actually fuck off. That's crazy work. Anel Secret at $50, $45. Again, this one's going to drop drastically in my mind too. I want to say I see this being like $20. Just like Mihawk, it's going to be like $20 for a while. And then it's slowly going to come down over time. I think it'll hold a little bit more than Mihawk. Mihawk kind of slowly charted off, where I think Anel is going to hold steady for a while. Over time, I see this landing in the $10 to $15 range, but after release, I want to say $20 if you give it a little bit. Luffy also at like $40. Again, I see this one a little bit cheaper than the NL. People are looking for this Luffy, but I do see it a little bit cheaper than the NL. You can already see that in the pre-sale prices as well. I see this one being around $15. Great card. Definitely think you should have your playsets of both of these. The NL a little bit less generic than the Luffy, but I think it's hilarious if you have 6 or less Dawn cards, and then if you have 6 or more Dawn cards. Like, I just think it's a good balance. I love what they did with these cards. Definitely going to come down, but if you are now maxing, this is one that you're going to want. $27. Definitely wait on this. $10 to $15 card for sure. Mama Ragen, this one definitely is going to hold a little bit more value than something like the Ohm, just because it's I mean, this card's broken, and I mean, just look at the artwork on it. It's really, really cool. And this is a super alt, whereas this is just a rare alt. So, $30. Again, probably more like $20. You know, I really see a lot of these cards like halving in price immediately and then going down from there. So that's going to be kind of my mental note to you guys. If you're seeing a card that you're wanting to buy and you're wondering how much it'll probably be on release day, I'm going to tell you, I always try to anticipate it cutting exactly in half and then going down from there. And you just kind of have to see. So like this Zoro, this is the EBO4 red Zoro that gives your leader a buff. They don't have the image on here, but this is 20, like $18 to $20 on release, or on pre-sale. On release, I imagine this would be like a $10 card. So just hold your horses. Luffy, again, this will be another great collector piece just as a one-of. It's going to be cheap, but I think the alt is going to be sought after. People are going to be grabbing this, grading this, holding it. This one, playable, but really is heavily played in that Bonnie deck the most. And then I guess yellow Luffy can play this really well. No, maybe not really well. Vegapunk, I guess. I don't know. I think Red Yellow Bonnie is the deck that really takes the most advantage of this. It's a deck that likes to live on the edge there on one or less life cards. So we'll see. I do think that this is a great card. If this card is really $18 now, I imagine it'll be under $10, and you should grab a playset of this because I could definitely see this being a really good 4-of in a lot of other yellow decks in the future. This Zora at $10 already. That's really cool. If this hits like $4, grab a playset instantly. This is a great card. It's just a super generic 4-cost. Trash a card from your hand, heal one. Like, that's broken, man. I mean, it's a super, we're talking about, when you talk about other cards like Kuma, that's a 6-7 stat line with 1,000 counter on it, but it's just a little bit, definitely a lot better. I want to say a little bit better of a card than this one. This one is still such a super strong, generically good card, and we'll see play in a lot of decks in the future. So I'd say even if you're not a like always playing yellow person, like yellow might not be your color you play, just have these on standby, man. I promise you, you will not regret it. This is a great card. Next we have Nami, again, $9. I don't really see it being more than $3, if that. Like, it's a great card for sure, but right now it's really only being taken advantage of in like 2 decks, and that's Black Yellow Luffy and Green Black Brook, and then I guess ST14 Luffy can play this as well. So next we got Mamoragan Super. This is $8. Again, just wait. It'll be way less than $5. It'll be less than $5 for sure. Sabo at $8. Again, just hold off, bro. Like this one and the Rebecca also at $8. $3, $4, $5. A lot of these that are sub $10 already are going to be sub $5, and maybe even down further than that. It just depends, because there's a lot of really good and strong playable cards out of this set, so it's kind of hard to say. Again, this NL is already sub $5, so I could see us going like $2 for these. Like, it's not going to be super expensive to build the decks that you want out of this set like it was out of 14. 14 felt really expensive right out the gate, and I think we're going to see a big correction with this set. That's at least my guess and my hope. One card that I definitely think that you should be on the lookout for and getting a playset of, even if you're not playing Brook right now or any deck that plays this. This is just a really good generic card. I think it's going to be really well played in a lot of black decks in the future, and just something you want to grab your playset of. It's a rare. $5, no way. This will probably be like Ground Death, where it's like $2 to $3 maybe, because it is a really good 4-of in a couple different black decks right now. So I could see this being $1, $2, $3, something like that. Then we have Sanji. This is another one that I'm going to recommend you pick up a playset of. I think this one will not be, it'll be like at max $1, but this is just a really good blue card. It's a blocker that gives unblockable to anything on your field. That's broken. That's super, super broken. And we will see this card come up in a deck, and people will be like, fuck that card one day. One day they will be like, fuck that card, bro. The Sanji card should not have been printed. So, and it has a counter. Stupid broken. Next we have Krieg. This is another one that I think is underestimated. It gives Dawn to your opponent's characters, and then it gains Rush. And then the turn it was played, you give minus 1,000 for all of the Dawn given to your opponent's characters. Like, yes, in the Krieg deck, this is really good, but I could see this played in other red decks in the future for sure. Like, if you're up against a deck that puts Dawn on all their guys and you slam this on the field, man, their whole board just gets a debuff. Like, it's crazy. Boa loves to do that with Gorgon Sisters. This can eat that alive, man. I definitely think this is a card you should have a playset of on standby. These will be $1. I definitely think you should watch out for it. Kobe, another card that's going to be $1. Definitely best in a Navy deck. This is not the text of it. I don't know where they got this text of. This is not this card. But if your leader includes Navy, and this would be removed from the field, you can trash a card from your hand instead. So that makes this card really, really good. You know, you play this in the Kobe deck for sure. I'm sure we'll get other Black Navy leaders again in the future. They're not going to just do away with that and that archetype and color. Trust, it'll happen. But your turn, once per turn, when your opponent's character is KO, draw a card. That effect of itself is really, really strong. You just want to have a play set of these on standby. They'll be $1. Trust me. Luffy alt art here. I'm not actually too sure where this is gonna land. Like I said, that rare Luffy is a really strong card in my opinion. A lot of people are on the lookout for it. Croc has a lot of hype behind it right now. I do think Brook has a high potential in the future, and I think this card will be played in a lot of different black decks moving forward. I could see Yamato playing this card for sure, unless we get just better cards in that. I don't know. This seems just too good to not include in most black decks right now, especially any that does any kind of milling at all. So $108, I do think that's really steep for this, but it is a Luffy card and it is really, really strong. It's also sick artwork that's really funny. He's pulling oars right there. It's really funny. But I don't know, man. I'm wanting to grab a playset of these, but I'm probably going to wait until they reach really, really low if possible. But for now, I don't really have too much of a prediction. Again, maybe slash it in half, $50. But I could see it being a little bit lower. Enel manga at 1900 has no sales on TCG Player. I'd take a look at eBay if you're interested in sales on this card. But I have seen listings on Facebook for around $1,500 to $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000. So anywhere in between there. Really cool looking manga. Enel's a great villain and a great character in this show. Highly loved. I mean, I remember when I was watching it and they ran into him the first time. I was like, I don't know how they beat this guy. Other than Luffy's rubber, and then he fucked Luffy with the ball, and I was like, I don't know how they're going to beat this guy. He's literally going to kill everybody. And then they did. So, awesome. But, yeah. This one, I see this one, as well as the Kobe that we're going to talk about here in just a minute, doing the same thing as the Mihawk. On release, Mihawk was like $1,500, and now he's like $700. $700, $800. So, if you want one of these, I wouldn't pay more than, like, $1,000 for it. That's just me. That's my opinion. It's a great card, great villain, but I think there are other mangas out there with a lot more money, and not that I don't think it's a $2,000 manga. That's just me though. I think it is a little bit harder to pull though. That might have a little bit, might raise the price on it a little bit because you have two mangas in this set, so a little harder to pull. Next, we have the SP Enel, and again, no sales on this either. 350 is your lowest. I think that this will come down a little bit as well, where this is a really good card, and God, the artwork's beautiful on all of this style of SP. I think they all look phenomenal. We're not going to talk about every single one of them right now, just a couple of them. I don't think it'll be 350. I think it'll come down a little bit from that, probably around the $200, maybe a little less range, but I do think a lot of these will be pretty pricey. Luffy, like I said earlier, if I was going to pay money for this Zeus, I would honestly rather put my money into that Luffy 100 times over. That's just me. I think this looks gas. It looks like the Gum fruit everywhere behind him, as well as, I mean, it's just a really cool card. This is the Restand Secret Luffy from EBO2. No, it's not. This is Beer Luffy. Oh, wow, that's cool. This is Beer Luffy from the starter deck. Okay, that's cool. Either way, like, I think this one looks sick. I think the artwork on it is gas. I think it's $800. No, I don't think it's $800, but if I was going to spend $800 on, and I was debating between Zeus or Luffy, I'd put it on Luffy all day. That's just me. Again, I don't think it'll be this much. I think it'll come down a little bit and then come back up and then correct and kind of find a stable price point, but whatever that is, not really too sure. Rebecca's already sub $100, $70. I think this would be like a $30 leader on release and go down from there, just like Jinbei did. Boa at $700. I'm kind of surprised that this one is that cheap, honestly. We have had another Boa. We've had 3 Boa SPs in 3 sets in a row, so people might be Boa'd out, but $700 feels cheap when you compare it to the other pre-sale prices for those other boas. Now, those other boas had 2 main assets out on full display, where this one doesn't. But for those boa collectors out there, I still think that this is a great card and a great pickup. Just wait until after pre-sale. And then we have the Sabo. This is a beautiful card. I think this is a great card. I've talked about the regular version of this card too many times for people to care anymore and not pick up their play sets when they were super cheap. But we have Sabo leader deck coming out, and I think it has a lot of potential. And if you're Sabo maxing, you'll probably want to get some of these. But $500 I think is definitely way too steep. Wait until this card hits like $200, maybe even less than that. And then next we have the Kobe manga. This one is already like $1,200. I think this would be like a $700 manga. I think it'd be really cheap. I don't think a lot of people really like Kobe. I'm personally, I used to be a Kobe hater. Now I'm just kind of Kobe neutral. He's not my favorite. He's not my least favorite. I could toss him or take him. I don't really care. It's whatever. So I do think this one would be a little bit cheaper. And then we have Lightning Dragon. I really want to get my hands on this card, but not for $180. I don't. The problem is that this is a played card, just like Ground Death. However, Ground Death is a lot more generic than this, and this is only going to be played in Enel for right now. You can play this in other cards for sure, or other decks for sure. Don -1, draw a card, and then lock a 6K or less. Like, that's pretty good. I could see this in other purple decks for sure. But for now, the only deck that I can really see taking advantage of it is Enel. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, and you're playing a deck that is utilizing this that's not Enel. But I don't know. I definitely see it under $100 after presale. Maybe I'm wrong, but people will be picking up 4-ofs for their Enel maxing. And then next we have Whitebeard. I do see this one actually holding good value because it is Edward Newgate. People love Newgate, and this is also a really, really good card. And as long as Ace doesn't have any hits to it, people are going to be swapping out their Newgates for this Newgate. And $480 worth? No siree. Nobody's paying that right now, but I do think it'll be pretty pricey. And then finally we have the other Sabo, and again, $500 worth? No way in hell. That's just people putting ridiculous price tags on SP so they can try to make some money. I would wait and see all these SPs go sub $300, sub $200, something like that. We were looking at some for OP14, and they just slowly kept going down and down and down and down. So if you give it more time, sometimes they will go down more, but there's some that are either super played or super good characters that just won't. Like Boa, it's going to find its price point around release, and it probably will stick or go up. And then you have like the Luffy as well. That one's going to be tough too. I can't find it. I just had it. Yeah, this one's going to be tough too to pinpoint a price on. Again, my advice to you is please just wait. Don't fall victim to buying presale prices. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a dude who likes to try to help people save money on this card game. And I would tell you to wait every time you try to buy any of these cards right now. But that's about all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments below what you're excited for the most out of this set. If it's an SP card, if it's a certain deck or a certain leader, I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, we'll be back in a week with another Market Watch touching on these prices after pre-sale. So I hope you have a great rest of the week. If you're opening any boxes this week, good luck to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.